Alright, I've had a rethink on my um, journal extract readings uploads on my Hijack Mind channel. A bit of a rethink, and I think it makes more sense for me to, rather than upload almost like entire readings with a bit of editing here and there, obviously. I've removed the two videos. I'd removed the two videos that I'd already uploaded, and now they're removed. So rather than me upload entire full-length, almost full-length readings with a bit of editing at the end, just prior to upload, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read out just the areas and the passages of text in the diary and journal, whatever, logs, where it has more relevance in terms of me trying to prove that I had been under surveillance and that there was a plan hatched to bring about pretty much the ruination of my life. I've got plenty of I have a few ideas of who might be behind it. It could be a concerted effort between those agencies, those parties. But certainly the idea of this channel is for me to set out, although it's almost an impossible task, is to set out and try and prove that surveillance exists and mind control exists, and both were applied to my life before my life was almost completely ruined by certain events that ensued after I had done things online and made comments and just done things online. It was MSN MySpace where I believe it all started in earnest. It all kicked in. After that, I did some stupid things, but at the time I wasn't thinking mind control concerning those things. You know, if mind control has been used against you and you strongly suspect that, what is the point of saying, oh well, I take all the blame? You know, it's easy to say be the man and take the blame. That's easy enough to say to anybody. But if that was the case, then of course I'll hold my hands up and absolutely I would say, okay, I'm to blame. But you know, sort of the world's moved fast since then. It's moved on very quickly, and certain things have come to light since those days in early 2000s. And I've certainly learned a lot about the world and what's going on in the world behind this that's not visible. And with my evidence, because I was fortunate enough to have kept a diary and a log. Without that, it'd be pretty practically impossible to even set about trying to prove. But I've got that as a foundation, and so that makes it a lot more interesting. So if I connect that up with what I've actually learnt through research online since those early 2000s when I started keeping the diary, then you know, I think I might, although it is a difficult task, I might be able to at least convince some people that this was going on and mind control was used against me, and mind control can be used in the most for the most despicable reasons, in the most despicable ways, to get someone to do something. And if the person doesn't know mind control's being applied, and even if he does know mind control's part of his life, you can't do nothing against it. There's no way you can combat it, because in all circumstances you know that your thoughts are your own. Even more so when you say know thyself, because when you say know thyself, that's when you even more strongly believe that your thoughts are your own. So if you understand what I mean by that, if you're of the mind and this mentality where you go by the saying know thyself, then in all circumstances you think your thoughts, no matter what direction they're driven in, they're your thoughts. What I'm going to do is start uploading just very focused extracts. So the large part of the diary won't be uploaded, but there will be, as soon as I come across anything that's of interest and I think is absolutely connected to what happened and what I experienced at a later date, then I will upload that and create a video. I might even film the passage of diary just to prove that I actually did write it and I'm not just making shit up in the present day and referring it back to 2007 as if so that's not the case. I'll just focus the camera on the passage on the passage and zoom in and just show that I did write what I'm reading out. So that's what I'll be doing from now on for this channel, and there should be quite a lot of uploads coming up. So I'm going to go through my diary. I'm also going to try and trace the Star Wars tagline, "May the Fourth be with you," which I came up with, and I am adamant it was stolen through the surveillance and then used, borrowed, stolen by the people involved in the Star Wars franchise, and it was passed on to them somehow, and they might have even paid good money for it. It could have been sold. The idea could have been stolen from someone and then sold to the Star Wars. I don't know what's gone on. I'm not saying the people of Star Wars have got me under surveillance, but what I'm saying is the idea was stolen from my notes and it was later used. So I don't know if that's now. I don't know if it's in my ideas notes, which I kept from a very early, from pre-2000s. Those ideas notes. I've only found one batch of them so far, so I'm missing some, and I need to try and locate them. And I think that's where the Star Wars tagline was written on, which was "May the Fourth be with you." I did write that down on a piece of paper in the early 2000s. It wasn't used until 2015, which is 38 years after the Star Wars franchise began, with the first film in 1977, A New Hope, but it was just called Star Wars back then. So I need to try and find that. What I'll also be doing is going over my idea sheets and looking at those, and what I will be doing there is I will be cross-referencing any ideas I've written down and looking online to see if they have been used online since I jotted them down on the piece of paper, and I'll try and check dates and try and connect that up with what I've written down on the piece of paper, and that's what I'll be doing. And the more that happens, when I come across stuff, because I know a lot of examples of those notes have been copied and plagiarized and stolen and used by other people, a lot of ideas, but I won't mention that just yet. But when I come across them, I will clearly show that I came up with the ideas, and that in itself will also prove this surveillance, because those notes have never left the house and they've never been shown to anybody.